Hello, everyone, and welcome back to day one of Spring One's Agile Leadership Breakout Track. Next up, we have Julia Keis from AUDI and Fani Bahar from VMware discussing outcome-oriented roadmaps, which I'm looking forward to learning about. Julie and Fani, over to you guys.
Thank you, Rick, and thank you everyone for watching our talk. So before we start, let me share my screen. So yeah, welcome to our talk, Outcomes-Oriented Roadmap from Vision to Reality. And before we start, let us introduce ourselves. So my name is Fani Bahar. I'm currently working as Senior Product Manager at VMware Tanzu Lab. And I've been working with a lot of VMware clients to build their modern application or greenfield application. And last year, I got the chance to work with AUDI and meet this lovely lady, Julia.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Julia. I'm 29 years old. I'm from Germany, and I'm working for AUDI for at least 6 years now as a product manager in different projects. And at the moment, I'm at the so-called SDC. It's the Software Development Center at AUDI, which you can see on the next slide. This is a department for developing digital products in-house. So we're working from AUDI for AUDI. We also have a junior academy, which is a vocational training for computer scientists. And we are working in balanced teams. And at the moment, we have 2 permanent teams and 2 different projects. The team size all in all is around about 24 people. And yes, as Fani told you, the SSC is also the place where we met and where we had the chance to work together. And on the next slide, the question is, if you're wondering if this presentation is for you, so if you're a product manager, developer, designer, or in a leadership position, and you ever experienced that you lost the focus or you haven't got a clear vision of the product you're working on, you're right here. So today we want to share our experience, what we learned about becoming outcome-oriented instead of output-oriented. First, I will inform you about the problem we discovered. We will hear the idea of output versus outcome. And afterwards, Fani will explain you the 6 takeaways from our collaboration together. So let's start. So when will it be finished? So most of the stakeholders focus on the output a team generates. So there's a well-known question, when will it be finished? But we asked ourselves, is this the right question to ask a team? And what we discovered is that stakeholders often have an idea of a product they want to build. And most of them think that they know their customer and they know how to fix the problem of the customer. But what we learned is that there are 2 problems. First one is there's a difference between understanding the customer's problem and a possible solution for this pain point. And the second one is an idea is not a clear vision. So it's more like a subjective feeling or an idea of a feature set. So instead asking the question, when will it be finished? You should ask yourself in the team, how does the vision look like? And the next thing is how to realize the problem. The problem in this case means the customer's problem. So by validating the problem you want to fix with your product, you will find out if it is a real problem or for the potential users or not. So maybe while researching. And it is much more easier to develop a fitting product if you exactly know the pain points of your customers and how they develop. And developing a good product doesn't mean hitting a checklist with listed features you found out or you think which fit. So it more means that you focus on the impact you'd like to achieve with your product. And the outcomes versus output is, so I hope to get this going, that everyone knows the movie Back to the Future. So they have the escaping problem where Marty needs to escape from Biff. And imagine you should design a solution for this case. So if you think output oriented, you will shortly come up with a possible solution for the problem. So you might think like cars are fast. With a car, Marty will escape. So let's build a car for the problem. And if you think outcome oriented, you will think more like this. You ask yourself some questions. What do we know about Marty? He can skate. What do we know about the situation he's in? So it's a critical situation for him. He needs to escape fast. It's a rough terrain where he's on. maybe we can use the skateboard. But what about the terrain? Can he skate that? Maybe can we get rid of the wheels? And maybe let's freak a little bit out and say, is it possible that the skateboard can fly? So by collecting all the information you can get about your user, and by iterating through this knowledge, you will come to a solution. So in this case, it's the hoverboard which fits the best. So to sum it up, if you think output oriented, it's you focus on the solution, but maybe you forget about the problem where you came from. And if you think outcome oriented, you focus on the problem while iterating to a fitting solution. So in our case, as you can see on the next slide, we also had the problem that we had some moment in our project where we found out that everyone has a different idea of the vision of the product. So we were planning the future without a good connection to the problem we want to solve. And this was the point where we started questioning how our day-to-day work impacts our product. So let's check out the 6 takeaways we collected for you. On the next slide. So first of all is collaboration. So one key fact to help you improve is to understand that when you create a product together in a team, a good collaboration is key. So every team member should feel safe, should have the feeling of psychological safety, should have the feeling that he or she can say everything what they think of and not be teased about it. So in the next slide, yeah, you can see the team which worked together on the right side. And as well, include your team members from the start. So the product roadmap is not a thing which is produced by the product manager itself. It's a team thing. So each team member should have the voice to influence the product roadmap and should do so as well, because a lot of different opinions lead to a more creative solution. So in here, I will hand over to Fani.
Thank you, Julia. So yeah, the second point is we also realized that articulating the vision easy so everyone can understand it is important, because we have been thinking, okay, the vision has to be very aspirational, it has to be very motivating for the team, which is all good, but we also need to make sure that everyone in the team understand the vision. The reason is because vision is really matters when we are building a product, because basically vision is some kind of wishes for us for our product, like how the better future for our product. So what we did together is we have a team session, and we're trying to kind of understand the current vision we have, and we're trying to also share our understanding about the vision, and we also trying to understand why this vision, why our product is exists in this world. So for example, this is the vision that we come up, which is to build trustable place where people can discover and own the car of their dream. So we're not really specifically mention about like our product has to be a platform or has to be a mobile application, but we really trying to understand like why we want to have this product, like because we want to allow people to discover and own the car of their dream. So we nailed down a couple of points from the vision exercise we had. Like, first of all, vision is not a detailed plan of the product. And definitely we need to make sure the vision we have is giving a clear direction, the future that we want to achieve, not limit the team in order to achieve the vision. And again, vision, it's really great that we can contribute and define the vision together as a whole product team. So yeah, that's the second takes away. The third takes away is the strategy. So we already clarified our vision. We understand what we want to achieve for better future for our product. But then now we are asking ourselves how to achieve it. And that's where the strategy comes. Because the strategy, we consider it as a guiding path for achieving the vision. So here in the picture, because both Julia and I, we like hiking. So we like to hike the mountain. So if we are in the present, and then our vision is in the other side of the mountain. So we need to define our strategy to conquer the mountain. So then we achieve the vision. So yeah, strategy also matters. You already have a vision, so now you are thinking how to achieve it. So it's also a team exercise. We trying to collaborate together, discuss, okay, we have this vision, what potential, let's say, activity or potential goal that we need to try to achieve in order to achieve our vision. So the reason we do this exercise, we want to really make sure what we want to build or what we will not to build. And we also understand why we are making those decisions. And as you can see here, this is an example that we have, like the strategy is, first of all, we really want to get big on sustainable market, like sustainable car market. The second thing is we also want to optimize the inventory. So might be we need to make sure we have a specific model for our cars. And then the other thing is we want to expand worldwide for our product. So again, at the end of the day, product strategy will always cover a set of choices that we decided together as a team when we are building the product. So that's the third point. The next point is focus on the outcomes of the product. So as Julia already mentioned in the beginning, that we need to try to shift our mind from solution or output oriented to outcomes oriented. So outcomes here is we trying to make sure that we understand the impact that we want to achieve when we are building the product or when we are improving our product. So here the way we do it in the collaboration session, we understand the vision, and now let's focus on one strategy that we have, which is get big on sustainable market. So that's really something that we want to achieve. So we try to figure it out, what actually a good outcomes for us in order to achieve this strategy. One of the outcomes come up from the workshop can be, might be we need to make sure that we increase the customer trust on our sustainable car. Or the other thing is, might be we also need to make sure we improve the customer car buying experience, because we believe that will impact to also customer trust. So by focus on the outcomes, this is really focus on the impact. So we're not yet saying any feature that we need to build, but we are saying what we want to achieve, or what impact we want to see when we are start working on this product. And the reason we really focus on outcomes is really we want to shift our mind. We want to always start what is the problem we want to solve, and why actually we are building specific feature, or we are building specific product. And then every time we start discussing about the feature, when we are brainstorming about the feature, we always trying to make sure that the feature that we are thinking, it's also will impact to our outcomes. So that's another example here. As you can see, another box, we have validate customer trust criteria for sustainable market. So at that time, we are not yet understand what is actually the customer trust for sustainable car market, and we want to understand it first, and then after that we try to make sure we can come up with the feature that will give an impact. So that's the fourth key takeaway. The next key takeaway is metrics to measure our success. So when we start, we didn't really think metrics, like we were thinking about the metric having the new user, or probably release, and then we get like a certain traffic. So sometimes even it's also very hard for us to define the metrics, or sometimes we're also afraid to set up a metrics, but that's not a reason for us to really dismiss a metrics, because we really believe that metrics will really tell you when you are successful or when you facing a roadblock or when you are having a failure. So it really give you a specific reasoning. So we also try to tie in every metrics with every outcomes that we define. So one of the metrics for the customer trust here, we're trying to set the first metrics, which is our car brand trust increased by 20% in sustainable market. So this is a new car brand, and we want to make sure that we can actually increase our brand trust in terms of sustainable car. And it's also hard for us to finally get the right metrics to measure our outcomes, and that shouldn't be a problem. Like we can always iterate the metrics. Like if the first time you didn't get it right, that's okay. We're just trying to realize it and then try to define it better. And sometimes might be you have a stakeholder that very opinionated for a certain feature, and probably you even agree like with this feature, like might be this feature will give an impact for your outcomes, which is totally fine. We just need to also agree what is the metrics that we can track for these specific features. So the next one, I just want to show to you at the end of the day, we have an outcomes-oriented roadmap that really highlight the outcomes and also really highlight the current priority that we want to work on as a team. So might be, as you see in the near term and the future, might be you can see it's a less detail. The reason is because we might need a lot of experiment, a lot of validation, and probably there is some prioritization that has to change. But we always try to make sure that our roadmap highlight the outcomes or the impact that we want to achieve. The last key takeaway is frequently review the roadmap for your team. I've been working with a lot of different VMware clients, and in different clients, they might treat roadmap as just a documentation that you have every year, that you have to review every year, and then at the end of the year, you just see which is working out or not. So what we really learn, we shift our mind that roadmap is not about documentation anymore, but it's more for a communication tool. So we are trying to always review our roadmap in a regular basis. So it's not only between a product manager, product owner, or business owner, but it's also with the designer and also with the engineer, because we also need to make sure that we understand the reason of the prioritization of the outcomes, the reason the prioritization of the feature, or how the progress that we made towards that specific outcomes, or how we actually achieve our metrics. And by having those conversations, we can also define together what is the action item. So then we can improve our roadmap or even improve our way of work. So that's also one thing that we feel help us a lot, that we are reviewing the roadmap as frequent as possible, and we consider it not as a document, but it's more on as a communication tool. Yeah.
Yep, and to sum it up, outcomes-oriented roadmap from vision to reality. There's the 3 columns in the end. So first one is the team. So remember that it's no one-man show if you're working in a team. Everyone should have the feeling of psychological safety. A key factor is also understanding. So articulate your vision and strategy clear. Maybe let people explain the vision and the strategy as well in their words to find out if it's understand right, or everyone understands it the same way. And the last one is impact. So define and prioritize your outcomes. Find the right metrics, which isn't the easiest one, but you will get used to it. And also trust your metrics. So if it tells you you're not working out well, so change and don't feel bad of changing something. Yeah. So thank you all for participating. And if you want, you can get in touch with us just with our LinkedIn profiles, which are here with the QA card. And yeah, thank you all.